Story time. I've been coaching long enough to where I've had so many kids come through and I don't know who I've told what stories. And I don't want to be that old guy that's always telling the same people the same stories. So I figured I would make this video kind of discussing how I got to where I am as a coach. So growing up, I didn't play basketball a ton. I had a hoop in my backyard. Shoot every now and then. Played mainly baseball and football. Those are my two sports. Grew up in a trailer park. Me, my brother, and my cousin Chase would walk around the trailer park and find kids to play us in football. Like we made jerseys. We would just show up, knock on people's doors, ask if they wanted to join our league. We'd have a regular season. We'd have playoffs. Like we played a lot of football, but baseball was my main sport. I was good. I was really good at baseball. I have about. I'm not gonna go get them. I have about 57 trophies in my shed out back. Growing up, they called me the trophy collector. That was just kind of the nickname for me. Started in t-ball, obviously. My coach put me on the pitcher's mound, which looking back, it's not a big deal in t-ball. You typically put one of your better players on the mound because most of the kids hit the ball back to the pitcher. Um, but I was on the pitcher's mound. I did get maybe I'd have to check that it might be the only unassisted triple play in t-ball history. I did that. I did get that. Some of you know that I have a triple play in another sport, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. But of course, T-ball went to rookie ball. I don't think my team. I played 2 years of rookie ball. I don't think my team won a single game. I feel like we went 0-10 each year. Rookie ball sucked. That's machine pitch. And then when I was 9, I played up in the 10 to 12 league, Little League Baseball. Um, and I remember it was a game in Pleasureville, Kentucky. They were probably the best team in the league. Our second baseman didn't show up, and I wasn't playing. Like I was just there. I was on the team. I was sitting in the dugout. Um, my coach, his name was Eddie Bowman, great guy. He didn't have a kid on a team. He just loved coaching us. Um, he put me in at second base. He told me half the battle is just showing up, being prepared, being on time, and he told me to make the most of the opportunity. And I remember him telling me that. So he puts me at second. I get a couple balls hit my way. I make every play, and I started second base the rest of the year as a 9 year old in the 10 to 12 year old league. Um, so from a very early age, I had coaches, at least in baseball, that really believed in me, and I think that helped fuel a passion for baseball. Because I didn't I didn't have the best life growing up, like best childhood. So if I found something that I could excel at, I gravitated towards that. I latched onto that, of course. And baseball was that for me. In baseball, like I loved it so much. I would have my dad hit me ground balls for hours just in the backyard. We used to have a rope that hung from a tree and just had a baseball tied to it. I would hit it until I would have blisters all over my hands. My hands would start bleeding. Like I would just hit it just to work on my game. I played football. Like I joined the football team. I played for the Campbellsburg Bengals, but I was one of the bigger kids, right? Believe it or not, I was the big kid when we were young. Um, so I played offensive line and defensive line. I was a defensive end and an offensive tackle in Pee Wee football. So I didn't really enjoy football that much. Like I hated football practice. I like playing the games. I just hated football practice. I got better and better at baseball each year because I would continuously work at my game. The first 2 years, not when I was 9, we lost to Pleasureville in the championship. When I was 10, we lost to Pleasureville in the championship. When I was 11, we beat Pleasureville in the championship. When I was 12, we beat Pleasureville in the championship. So we won it my last 2 years. I tried out for the basketball team in seventh grade. I got cut. got cut. I tried out for the team in 8th grade. I'd put in a little work. Um, I don't know, some of y'all, like in the old movies, you try out for a team, they put the list on the wall, and all the kids run up, see if their name's on the list. Did I make the team? Did I make the team? Yeah, that's how it was when I was in middle school. I'm old. So I don't like we get to school, me and my friends, we get to school. I don't even run to the sheet because I'm like, nah, I made the team. Like I already know. And they're like, yo, Trav, you're not on here. I'm like, what? Are you kidding? So I walk over. I wasn't on the list. I got cut in 8th grade too. So I mean that sucked. Sucked a lot. Um, I was starting to really like basketball. The summer between my 8th grade year and freshman year, I moved out of my mom's house. Um, I moved in with my dad. He lived in Emnance, and we lived on a dead end street in Emnance. All we had was a little hoop. Like we had a goal at the end of the street. So when I moved over there, that's all I did. Sun up to sundown, I was shooting a basketball. I was playing a basketball if somebody wanted to play. If they wouldn't want to play, I was out there shooting by myself. Um, my brothers, my dad would play a lot. Like a lot of my friends that summer stopped coming over and hanging out or spending the night with me because all we would do is play basketball and they didn't want to play basketball. Um, in Emnitz, we had a church really in the middle of the town. It was behind a church, double rims, chain nets. So when the guys curious how I got a soft shot, I grew up playing on double rims. You have to have a soft shot. I lost a ton of weight this summer because, like I said, all I was doing was playing basketball. I got kicked out of a bunch of churches because I would sneak in, like when it was raining or something. I'd have my brother drive me around. Just pull up to the church. I'd walk around, just pulling on door handles, see if there was one unlocked. And usually there's always one door unlocked. So I would get in there and I would shoot until somebody kicked me out. I shot a lot of basketball that summer. Um, but I was still obviously better at baseball. My last year of Little League, when I was 15, bro, that was probably the pinnacle of my athletic performance was when I was 15. So we went undefeated the entire year. I think me and my best friend Jeffrey, we probably both hit around 800. We're the two main pitchers. Our ERAs were probably under one. Like our team was so good. Like so I don't really want to bring this up, but I will real quick. Like I don't want to go into too many side tangents, but so we go undefeated the entire year baseball. Some of you I know I've told this story to. So there's that rule: if you pitch, you have to wait so many days till you can pitch again in Little League, right? Me and Jeffrey had already pitched, and we had our last game of the year was like a makeup, and so me and him couldn't pitch the last game of the regular season. And up until this point, we're undefeated. Like we're run rolling teams. Like no, we haven't had a close game yet, and we had some of the better 13-year-olds on our team, and so Tyler Cox, he started the game. Um, Pitches a decent game, pretty good game. Like we have the lead going in the last inning, and I remember we're up 3 in the last inning. They get the bases loaded, and we put my guy Ben Roberts on the mound, and this team hits a walk off grand slam to end our perfect season. That sucked. Um, Love Ben. I think the last time I saw him, I asked him if he remembers that day, and he jokingly said, "Yeah, I think about it every night before I go to sleep." But no, that was that was how my that season ended, and we ended up losing in the first round of the tournament. Don't want to get into that. It happened in VV, Indiana. When I drive by VV, Indiana, I still get mad. Um, but yeah, baseball, Little League career ended after having such an amazing year. Um, but fast forward, freshman year, try out for the basketball team again. I put in so much work. Like, there's no shot I'm getting cut this year. No, absolutely no way. So I try out. I feel like I'm one of the best players on the team. I wasn't the best at like 5-on-5 because obviously I got cut in seventh and eighth grade. I never played 5-on-5 organized basketball. Put me in a situation where it's 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. I'm killing, right? I didn't think anybody could guard me. So I make the team. Make the team. First game of the year, we played Carroll County. Like, I remember this so vividly. We played Carroll County at home. We're wearing shirt and tie. I got these pants on that can't get wet. Like, they're water. Like, you pour water on them and it like beads up and just rolls off. Like, I was ready. Like, I thought I was him. Like, Carroll County coming to my gym. Like, I thought I was that guy. And game starts. I'm starting in the starting lineup. Game starts. We win a tip. We bring it down. We run a play. We run a set. I shoot it. I hit a three. I pressure the ball coming up because y'all think I'm good at defense now. You should have seen me when I was 16, 17. Um, I steal the ball coming up the court. Go get a layup. Timeout. We have 5-0. They call timeout. Walk over. Coach takes me out. We like a minute into the game and coach took me out. I didn't know why. Uh, I don't play the rest of the first half. Started the second half. I start again. I play for about a minute. Same thing. He takes me out. I don't play the rest of the game. We won that game. I'll go ahead and spoil it. We end the season about we won one game the entire year. We went 1-16. I don't know. I don't know. Probably didn't play that many games, but we won one game the entire year. So I went from starting to becoming the guy they put in at the end of the game when we're down 30 with like a minute left. Like, I had no idea what was happening. Uh, Occasionally, my freshman coach, his name was Coach Thompson. Only thing he ever told me was he didn't like my shot, like my mechanics. He didn't like the way I shot the ball. Regardless if it went in, he didn't like my form. That was the only thing he ever critiqued me on. So I really never understood why he didn't want to play me. Um, Occasionally, Coach Roberts, it's Ben's older brother. He was the varsity head coach. He would walk over whenever he was watching our games and he would put me in. Like, he would sub me in. Like, he would walk from the stands and sit down on the bench and put me in. So that was those moments were far and few between, but I always appreciated when Coach Roberts was there and he would put me in the games. I remember being in the locker room before a game and the varsity guys, like, we had a pretty good varsity team that year. Chase, my cousin, Brian Winters, Craig Vaughn, Tom Ray, Zach Banna, Andrew Purdue. Like, we had a solid varsity team that year. And they're like, "Yo, Trav, you dress in JV? Because you dress JV, it means you get to travel with the varsity team, right? Because you got JV varsity doubleheaders. Yo, you dress in JV, Trav? But I'm not even playing freshman." And they didn't believe me. Um, I'm not even playing freshman. At some point during our season, we got a new head coach. Don't know why. Don't know what happened. But Coach Thompson became the assistant, and in came Coach Clark. So the Clarks are kind of like legends in Henry County, like super athletic. Their whole family's athletic, good at sports. So Coach Clark comes in. First practice, he pulls me aside. He's like, "Yo, why are you not playing?" I'm like, "I don't know. No idea." So he immediately puts me back in the starting lineup, which hey, here we go. Here we go. We still lose. I remember we go to Oldham County and get absolutely smacked. Like they're full court pressing us, smacked. I remember one day before practice, we're in the locker room changing, and we hear, "Freshmen, get dressed and go to the middle school gym. We have a shame on you practice. And when I walk in, you better be fully dressed, shoes tied, and on the line." A shame on you practice. And all the varsity guys, the older guys, are like, "Oh, oh, y'all, oh." We're like, "What the hell's a shame on you practice?" They wouldn't tell us. They're like, "Just be ready to throw up. Everybody on the team's going to throw up." We're like, "Oh my God. Oh my God." So we get dressed in the varsity or the locker room. It's in the high school, and then we walk up to the middle school. We walk in, put our stuff down. We're all in the line waiting. He walks in the gym, just immediately starts yelling at us, and we're scared to death, man. Scared to death. And he walks in. Before we start running, Coach Roberts walks in behind you, pulls him to the side. They have a short conversation. I don't know what was said. I don't know what happens. To this day, I have no clue. Coach Clark walks out. Coach Roberts says, "All right, guys, back to the main gym. You're practicing with us today." And that was, Coach Clark was gone. Like, Coach Thompson became our head coach again. I was super relieved that I didn't have to do the shame on you practice. Like, I was terrified. But it took me a minute, and I finally realized as Coach Clark walked out, so did all my minutes. Like, I went straight back to not playing and being that guy on the bench that only came in at the end of games. So that sucked. It sucked really bad. Coach Clark was giving me an opportunity that I felt Coach Thompson wasn't giving me. Looking back on it, I'm sure it had something to do with me, my body language. I was doing something the coach didn't like. It's something that I always tell guys, like, you got to have good body language. And I didn't have anybody in my ear telling me that stuff when I was a kid. Like, when I was a teenager, I was an absolute hothead. Like, I could not handle, like, you had to coach me a different way than you would coach a normal kid. Like, I would blow up and I would just leave. I would walk out. I spent most of my life, pretty much all my childhood, in fight or flight mode, so I didn't know how to handle adversity when it hit me. Basically, there was no calm in me. There was no rationale. I was basically a ticking time bomb. Looking back now, that I'm sure that was part of the reason he wasn't playing me. I just had no idea at the time. But baseball comes around. I'm starting varsity. I'm in my element. I'm getting my flowers. Everything's good. But I still love basketball, man. I always joke I'm built like a football player. I was best at baseball, but I love basketball the most. After my freshman year, I made a decision to just put everything in me into baseball. Like, I didn't try out again for basketball. Probably one of the biggest regrets I have. I wish I would have tried out again. I was trying to get a scholarship, so I just thought baseball was my best bet. Before my senior season of baseball, we ended up having 3 different head coaches in my 4 years. So that sucked because you're always changing everything around. It's hard to build a culture when you're going through head coaches like that. In the summer of my senior year, or the off season, we didn't have a head coach yet. So I kind of took the initiative to start, I don't want to say a strength conditioning program, but I was getting the guys to meet up after school, and we were going to lifting, we were going to run, and we were on the track. We were doing workouts, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was 17, but I figured doing something's better than doing nothing. So that was cool. That was like my first ever experience, like, training people, even though I was training myself. And then we got a new coach named Coach Tibb from Louisiana. He came in with quite a resume. He already won like 2 state titles in Louisiana as a baseball coach. He helped the strength conditioning team, the LSU's football team. Like, he was hardcore. Like, I guarantee you, we were the best conditioned team in the state after all that, after what we went through. I remember one day he walked up and he's like, "Yo, after school we got box jumps and speed ladder in the sand pit. bro, what? I'm like standing with the guy. I'm like, bro, what is he talking about? We don't even have a sand pit. Like, this is Henry County, bro. We walk out to the track, go to the right. Bro built a sand pit with his hand, like his bare hand. Like, he went out there and built his own sand pit for us to work out in. I was like, holy. Like, that was easily the best condition I've ever been in my entire life. Was that year, my senior year of baseball. Uh, I loved every second of it. The conditioning part, the working out, I loved it. Baseball career kind of fizzled out. We had a lot of talent, like in my class and surrounding us, and by the time the senior year rolled around, we had so many guys quit, just like due to other stuff. Like, we only had a handful of guys left, so it became kind of like we were kind of passing the torch to the younger guys. That's what it felt like my entire senior year. I never got that big hoorah moment in baseball. We played Trinity at home. They were ranked top five in the state. We took them in extra innings. Like, we were pretty good, but I just never had that big moment. So the day before we go to region, I couldn't go to practice. We had a graduation party. My stepmom invited all these people. Like, it was the exact same time as practice was. So she called the coach and asked if it was cool if I didn't come. Looking back, I obviously should have went. I should have found a way to make it work and go to practice, or as a hit around, basically. And so I talked to the coach on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, it's cool, man. I understand. Family's coming. It's important. You spend time with your loved ones. Cherish these moments while you got them." Like, he's saying this to me on the phone. I'm like, "All right, thank you, coach. Thank you." He's like, "It's fine. Be at the field tomorrow at 10." I'm like, "All right, I'll be there." So he tells me 10. I'm thinking I'm gonna get there at 9:30. I pull up at 9:30. They already have a full-fledged practice going. So everybody's on the field. They're doing some BP batting practice, taking ground balls, and I'm like, "Damn, he lied to me. He told me the wrong time on purpose. I know he did, to make an example out of me." So I jog up to the field. I'm getting changed real quick. He blows up, like, starts throwing bats on the field, calls me selfish, tells me to just go home, says I don't care about this team, I let everybody down. I'm just like, damn. Like, I put so much of myself into this program and into this baseball team. Like, these were my brothers, and he's calling me selfish, saying I don't care about them. Like that hurt. And so we go play at Shelby County. We play South Oldham in the first round of region. He benches me. First game I don't start in my entire career. This is my last game. He benches me. So we end up getting killed. I think we lose like 12-1, something like that. I don't know. We go back to Henry County. We go up to the field house. So it's like a little room above the concession stand and all that. So we walk up there. Basically, he says, "Yo, called all the seniors selfish. Said we didn't really care about the program. We only cared about ourselves." And basically just said, "Y'all are free to go. Like, younger guys stay after so we can talk about like what this off season gonna look like. Older guys, y'all can go." That was it. We didn't have a banquet. We didn't have anything. Like, walked downstairs, went to my car, and that was it. Like, my entire baseball career just done. That kind of made me, like, I don't think I touched a baseball for a couple of years after that. Like, it hurt. It hurt. And so that, like, I always told myself if I ever became a coach, I was never going to be that guy. Like my players are gonna know I care about them and I love them, and there's more. It's more than a game, you know. Go to college. I'm majoring in computer science, information, something. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I went to college. Um, I really had no plan of going to college, but people kept telling me in high school, yo, you got to go to college. This is how you make money. You got to escape poverty. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. So I just went. I was like, okay, I don't know what I want to do. I have no clue. So I went to college. First year, I didn't really do much. Partied, played a lot of Guitar Hero. Um, Ended up dropping out after the first semester and just working. Put on a lot of weight. Around that time is when I finally just was like, just looked in the mirror. I was like, damn, bro, like, kind of let yourself go. You got to get back in the gym. So I went to the gym. I just started working out. I still had no idea what I was doing, but I kind of fell in love with the process again. I worked out. I worked out. I worked out, and then I got to the point after a couple of years where I felt like I could help people because I had quite a transformation myself. So I was like, I can help people do this. So I took on a couple clients. It's dope. It's cool. It's cool watching people work out hard and seeing them get results, and knowing that you kind of helped steer them in that direction. Like that was super cool. Eventually, I took on some athletes. You know, Started training some athletes, and that was really cool. Because they're hyper focused on their goal. Like they really want to get better at what they're doing, and I fell in love with that like real quick, like instantly. And so that kind of sparked me like, okay, I know what I want to do. So I went to college. I got my bachelor's in exercise science to help with training and all that. It only took me like $100,000 in student loan debt to figure out what I wanted to do. But you got to go to college to escape poverty, to get out of debt, to set your family up. Yeah, okay, bro. But my cousin was on the Oldham County basketball team. So I went, I think it was his junior year, I went to the regional, which regional was at Henry County. It was Oldham County versus Anderson County, and they couldn't stop old Kobe Penny from Anderson County. I'm sitting up in the stands with my brother, and I'm armchair coaching. Like if I was down there, I would have him doing this, do that. Like I would shut him down. Like he wouldn't be able to score if I was down there. So after that summer or after that season, I told W, yo, like tell Coach Z if he wants, I'll come help y'all with conditioning. He tells him, he's like, yeah, that's cool. Tell him to come on out. I show up one day. I show up the next day. I show up the next day. I just showed up every day. Like he was gonna have to tell me to stop coming before I stopped showing up. I think he realized that. Um, so then eventually, as the summer is dwindling down, school season's about to start. He approached me. He's like, "Yo, do you want to join the staff as an assistant coach?" And I was like, "Me, assistant coach at Oldham County for the basketball team? Oh, okay. Oh man, never in a million years I think I'd be a basketball coach." But that first year, like I said, I played freshman year. I didn't play seventh, eighth. Like I know the game of basketball, but at the same time, I didn't know the game of basketball. So my first year, I was just watching and listening. Like I hardly talked my first year, um, but I feel like I had the opportunity to learn from one of the best coaches, one of the smartest coaches in the state of Kentucky. So I just learned, So I sat there and learned the entire year. We ended up going to the Final Four. So state tournaments played at Rupp Arena, which is like me. I'm a little kid from a trailer park, and I was standing on the floor of Rupp Arena, and I was like, I remember looking around just thinking, what in the world? Like, no way, this is real. I grew up a hardcore Kentucky basketball fan, so it was unreal that I was standing on the floor of Rupp Arena. But I remember I kind of had one foot out the door. Like W was graduating. That was the main reason I started was to help him. Like I remember being on a bus heading back, and I get a message from old Samuel Campbell. Yo, I want to get in the gym tomorrow. Is that cool? I'm kind of like, I'm not a very direct person. I'm sorry that if there's a if you want to call it a toxic trait, because I don't like telling people no, so I'll kind of like try to weasel my way out of it. I'll be like, we'll see, maybe. I'll have to check. Like I'm that guy. Like I'm sorry, but I don't like telling people no. But so like Z had just told him like, yo, take like a week or two off before you start any type of conditioning or working out for the next season. And so I told him, I was like, yo, Z said to take some time off before you start ramping it back up. He's like, dude, I've been on the bench. Freshman and JV season ended like last month. I haven't played a game in a month. Like I'm good. And I was like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, all right, let's do it. So the next day, we're at the YMCA, weights, basketball workout. Next day, weights, basketball workout. Next day, weights, basketball workout. It became a routine. It became a habit. It was like I could see him getting better day by day. Like he ended up having a pretty good sophomore year. Ended up hitting a huge shot to beat Collins in the first round of region. Um, he'll be mad if I show the shot, but I have to show the shot. That was cool. Like we ended up losing in the championship game to Walton Verona. They had a D1 big guy. Like that was a good team. That was a tough team. Junior year rolls around. So that was his sophomore year. His junior year comes around, and he takes another step in growth. So he's trying to hold people accountable. Like he's dragging people into the gym with him. So it's not just me and him anymore. It's me, him, and 6 teammates. So we're all we're all doing weights. We're all doing basketball workouts. So like that's when we took another step. Like everybody was in the gym getting better year round. Um, we ended up having a insane record that year because everybody bought in and everybody played for each other. They worked out with each other. The culture was there. Again, we ended up losing in the championship to Collins, who had 2 D1 guys. Gave them everything they wanted. I was like, damn, like we put in so much work, we just can't get over this hump. And his senior year rolls around, and COVID happened that summer. So like we're kind of like, damn, COVID hit as his junior year ended. As the junior year ended, and like they didn't even have the state tournament. And so that whole summer, we're just like, we keep hearing like there's probably not gonna be a basketball season. So like it's like all that work that we've put in, he's not even get to play his senior year. Like, damn. So like we could have moped around, and because every gym was shut down, like we couldn't go anywhere and do anything. But what we did, we just started working out at my house because that's all we knew. We had to work out, like we had to put in work. Bills are due. We got to put in some work. But eventually, we end up having a season. It's kind of like definitely a weird season. We didn't play as many games. Um, the benches are spread out, not as many fans. Everybody's wearing a mask. But we end up having a season. We get to region, and we end up winning region. That was one of the coolest moments of my life. Was so he put in so much work. He was never really considered the best player. Like he was never talked about on like board or forums or boards or posts or like max preps, any of that stuff. He was never talked about. He ends up winning eighth region most valuable player like of the tournament, and like he's just sitting there. Like I remember, like he's like tears are forming up in his eyes because like it's like all this work that we put in, like it finally cultivated into something special. And I don't even know if he knows it, but like, when he went and got the award, like I had to go over and sit down. Like I started crying. It just felt like something I did, all the time I put in, it mattered. You know, like everything we worked for, it finally paid off. we got to cut a net down, and he got recognized finally as being a hell of a basketball player. Um, but I was just so proud of that team because that was a special team to me because that was my first year. My first year, they were freshmen. So like when I'm standing on the sidelines learning, they're standing on the sidelines learning. So we kind of grew up together, and to see that group win the region like that meant the world to me. And like that feeling, like that kind of solidified why I love coaching basketball. Um, that moment made me feel like I had a purpose in this world. You know, that's how I got to where I am. Just a little trailer park boy. Ended up as a basketball coach at Oldham County, one of the best programs in the state. It's been a wild journey, but I'm here. I show up every day. I give the guys everything I have. They know I love them. They will always have me. They can reach out to me for anything. I will always be here. That's me. That's Coach Trav. Thanks for watching.